Hi there, the name of this session is Quick Canvas Tips, Tools and Features that Make a Difference. My name is Marlene Graf and I teach on the Logan campus at Utah State University. I'm in the Nutrition, Dietetics, and Food Sciences department and I'm a professional practice associate professor. So in 2019 and 2020, the USU Center for Student Analytics published these Student Insights reports, and they share them with faculty and staff and students. And the purpose of these reports was to discover data-informed insights about what helps students succeed at Utah State University. So when I saw the theme for this year's conference, these reports came to my mind immediately because one of the key findings of both reports was that well-designed Canvas courses and the inclusion of certain elements in Canvas tools are strongly associated with increased student success and retention. And so the purpose of this session is to walk through some of those design elements and specific tools and discuss some of the things that have been useful to me and my students. My guess is that you may be really familiar with a lot of these, but hopefully you'll find some new tips or tricks that will be helpful. Let's talk about the impact of Canvas design first. This Student Insights report noted that Canvas courses that included design tools as a feature had students who did better in the course. They had higher grades, they had improved retention rates, and that effect was amplified among first-generation students. And so using design tools is something that's strongly encouraged. And City offers a workshop called How to Quickly Create a Beautiful Canvas course that I'd highly recommend. In order to get to design tools, you go to a page on Canvas, you click on the edit button in the top right-hand corner, and then the Launch Design Tools button appears. And once you've taken the workshop from City, there will be a lot of new things that you can start doing, and that will help your students to do better in your course. The modules page is another place that I really like. So in 2021, I listened to an ETE presentation by Carrie Lamoureux, and this one focused on competency-based assignments, and she talked about how she uses her modules page as a way to design her students' experience in a course. And so this was a really transformative presentation for me, and it changed the way that I use the modules page in certain courses. So I don't set prerequisites for all of my modules in every course now, but I do in some, and so this shows you kind of how to do that. When you add a module, you can add pages, you can add assignments, you can add whatever content you want, and then it's all there in this clean outline form for students to see, and they can see what order to go in, and all the links are there. You can indent stuff to show where it fits in relation to other assignments. Once again, you can see that some of my modules have prerequisites, and I do that intentionally so that students will complete a previous module before they move ahead. And so prerequisites can be deleted once you get going, or you can add more than one prerequisite as well. But in order to add prerequisites, you first need to determine what work in a certain module needs to be completed and how it needs to be completed. And so if you click on the three dots in the top corner and push edit, then here's where you do all of that, and you can tell them that they need to at least view a page or submit an assignment or score at least a certain number of points on something before they can move forward. You can also lock modules or add multiple prerequisites or delete prerequisites, and it's just a way to manage how students move through your course. You can also view individual students and see how they're progressing and what modules they've completed. Here's what students see on the modules page. I like that it has a green check mark that shows them what they've completed and what's still open. I like this better than their to-do list, on Canvas, and so I always encourage students to go to the modules page in my course instead of using calendar or to-do list. With rubrics, this Insights report said students who complete an assignment using a rubric tend to score significantly higher on average than students who don't. And rubrics may also reduce grading time. And so once again, City offers a workshop that focuses on grading in Canvas, and that includes a discussion about rubrics, how to create one, how to make it effective, how to add it to Canvas. There's also this video from the Remote Teaching and Learning series that talks about how to use rubrics to optimize grading. This one's really well done, and one that I'd really encourage you to watch. With the grade book, here are some of my favorite features. With the total scores column, where it lists percentages in letter grades, I always put that at the front. You can also move it to the end. I use the search students bar and the search assignments bar quite a bit. I especially use it for things like digital escape rooms that reside outside of Canvas, and then I'm adding scores manually, and it just makes the process a lot simpler and faster. You can sort grades from high to low or low to high in a certain column. You can also excuse scores in the gradebook on Canvas. I don't excuse scores very often, but sometimes a student will have something major happen in their life, and so I'll excuse an assignment or an assessment, and the advantage of that is that it doesn't penalize them. So in terms of their grade. So let's say that you have a course that's worth 1,000 points, and if you excuse a 100-point assignment, then they're now graded out of 900 points instead of 1,000 points. So I use that every once in a while. You can also message students or certain subsets of students. You can message students who, haven't turned in an assignment, or students who are struggling, or who got low scores on something, or students who are doing well and working ahead and scored high on something. I found that acknowledging the students who are doing well is also really beneficial, and it's something that they appreciate. You can change the grading policy where you designate whether or not an assignment is graded manually, and that basically mutes the score, so students can't see their scores until you're finished and you release them on purpose. Sometimes I drop scores, and so here's an example. In one class, they have 4 assignments, or 4 exams. Then I determine their average score at the end of the semester, and that average score replaces their lowest exam score. And so on the assignments page, I have all of the exams grouped into one section, and then I set a rule and I drop the lowest score. Here's the box that comes up when you drop a score. You can drop 1 score or more than 1. You can also indicate what scores to never drop. And here on the grade book, once you've set that rule and dropped a score, you can see now which scores have been dropped. So the ones in pink are the ones that have been dropped because they represent the low score out of all of their exam scores. Delphinium is kind of a fun tool that I've enjoyed playing with. And Delphinium was created by an instructor in higher education here in Utah. I believe he's at UVU. And USU has purchased Delphinium, so it's embedded in Canvas. You can find it by going to settings and then adding it to your navigation bar. I haven't required Delphinium or pushed this at all, and yet students have enjoyed it, and the ones that have used it have really liked it. It basically gamifies your Canvas course, or it just adds dashboards and visual elements that students like. And so there's a tour for you, and there's also a tour for students that helps you become familiar with all of the features that it offers. It works from your modules page, and then it builds modules on this dashboard. And you can see things from a default teacher view, or you can see things from an individual
student's view. And so here's one student's view of the modules they've completed and what their score is. Here's the stats. There's a leaderboard. They can see their grades. And as a teacher, you can see the control tower, which is similar to the grade book. And you may be thinking, well, I thought all of this stuff is on Canvas, and it is. Like the new analytics page is also on Canvas, and you can toggle between Canvas and Delphinium to find a lot of the same things. And so there's also a message center in Delphinium, and once again, that's kind of similar to announcements, but the message center provides a way for you to send progress reports and determine how frequently they're sent. USU has a website that has more help with Delphinium and how to use it, and here's Delphinium's website. You can send me an email if you want a copy of these slides. I hope something was helpful. That's it.